What's going on, Sports Wars? We are live today, the first time for the Sunday Sports Wars stream in quite a while. I am Ryan Kittle from RK Outpost and geeksandgamers.com, and I have with me Jay. You know him, you love him, Drunk 3PO. How's it going, brother?
How is it going, man? It's nice to be back on a Sunday. We still love doing these things like right before football started, right? We did like right before the kickoff.
Yeah, we did a little football pregame and all that. That's kind of gone by the wayside since there's, no sports going on mostly. But that sounds like it's about to change for the NBA. The MLB is in negotiations to have its comeback. We had a big UFC 250 last night, in which we had a big announcement from someone that wasn't even fighting. But yeah, man, sports are coming back, and Sports Wars is coming back, which I'm really digging.
You've been doing a great. It's funny, you've been doing a great job with the channel with no sports. It's pretty crazy.
Well, we've been trying. You're doing the same thing over with Park Hopping, right? When the parks are closed. So all you have to cover is the news about, this person said this about the parks coming back then. And
exactly.
That's basically what we've been doing here on Sports Wars. We got Alex McCarthy in the chat with the RK3PO. That's right.
Yeah, we got to get a date on that show. Got to start locking that in.
Yeah, we do need to get a date on that. Maybe Thursdays.
Do it on your channel.
Maybe we can alternate. We got RC from the NYC for $5. What's up, Sports Wars? What's up, chat? Hope everyone is well and safe. Thank you so much, RC. Always appreciate your support on all the different channels, man. Thank you so much. Peter says, honestly, I haven't missed sports at all and haven't to listen to stupid-ass millionaires complain about how bad things are for them when they're making millions of dollars a year. Well,
it's a pretty true statement.
I don't miss that aspect, but I do miss sports.
I miss sports a lot. Yeah, I miss sports. You know how bad it was? It was so bad that the other day I was driving. I think I was going to my brother's house, and right in front of his house is like a full court basketball. And there was just a bunch of people playing. I actually slowed down and just watched. It was like I miss sports so much. I'm watching these terrible people play basketball for like 3 or 4 minutes, and I'm like almost analyzing. I'm like, he should have passed it. Oh man, he shouldn't have taken that shot. He's got too many people. It was crazy. It was crazy. It's like that's how much I miss watching basketball. And I've also watched have you watched any like the old, like they keep airing like older games? Like not just basketball, but they were airing like playoff games and football playoffs and baseball playoff games, and and I will say this: they launched that Jordan miniseries at the right time.
Oh yes,
so like that was perfect timing. Missing sports to drop that documentary. It was fantastic.
It was perfect timing, and I also think that it was just good because I feel like there's a whole like almost generation of people at this point that think that Michael Jordan's just like a myth. You know what I mean? Yeah. They think that what you hear about Jordan is not true, that's a myth. It's over exaggerated, when in reality, like it's all real. This, like, even if it sounds fake, is true when it comes to Michael Jordan. So I think it was really cool, especially because that kind of toughness and that kind of attitude about winning seems so absent in a lot of ways from today's game. Whether it be the NBA, the NFL, everything, it's all so different nowadays. Back then, it was literally just about winning and about destroying the person in front of you.
Absolutely. It's a different league. Yeah, we're getting tons of questions in the chat already of people.
Are we? I know we had a 420 super chat from Jay Rickman. Thank you very much, Jay Rickman. Appreciate you, brother.
Why 420?
Yeah, what a strange thing. What a strange thing.
Talking about weed or something.
What are the questions? I'm looking up here.
Someone asked about the Dolphins offseason and draft. I guess that was the only one.
Oh, my bad. Well, what do you think about the Dolphins?
I think they did very, very well with the draft. I saw this coming when they were they basically did a fire sale last year, and we like saw this coming. Was worried about Tua, but the biggest problem that Miami has is, and I hope they don't do this, they'll start the season with Tua, and they'll start the season with all these young guys, and it could be a disaster. It could be a disaster. But Tom Brady is not in our division anymore, so
just in your state.
Yeah, so I'm not, worried about that too much, but that it's gonna be, if they do it right, they could do good things. But Tua is, he's one bad boom away from. That's the end of his NFL career.
Well, no, he's so fragile. He's like, how like Carlos Boozer when he came to Chicago, he tripped over his bag and tore his meniscus. That's Tua. Like Tua is just gonna slip at home, trying to put something on the top shelf and snap his ankle in half. That's what I foresee for Tua. I don't see him lasting very long. But while he's there, I think he's gonna be exciting.
But that's the other thing is if their O-line is, if he's constant. So if you look at Seattle and with the quarterback there, they lost his O-line. So he's just, every time he hikes the ball, he's just running for his life. This past season, he was just constantly running. I mean, he could do a lot of, he does well when he's on the run there. But if they put Tua in that situation, it's not going to end well. It's just not going to end well at all. So
yeah, for sure. Well, we might as well just start talking about the NFL right now, because the NFL's had a certain position on protests since 2016, when Colin Kaepernick and several others started kneeling during the national anthem.
Yeah.
The NFL has come out and they have said, "We're sorry. We were wrong. I know we didn't say this for the past 4 years, but now we realize that once it's become trendy on social media, that we were wrong." And so I wanted to take a look at the video that the NFL put out, not the NFL, but a video that several players put out to the NFL, and then Roger Goodell's response, basically saying that we hear you and we're going to start trying harder. So let me share my screen here. Now, I don't know exactly who was in charge of putting this together. I don't know if this was, I've heard that Michael Thomas did it. I've also heard Saquon Barkley. Maybe Saquon Barkley just tweeted it out. But this is Michael Thomas in the beginning. So I think it's Michael Thomas. But this is NFL players, we hear you. This is something that the players put out the day before. So let's take a listen.
It's been 10 days since George Floyd was brutally murdered.
How many times do we need to ask you to listen to your players?
What will it take
for one of us to be murdered by police brutality?
What if I was George Floyd?
If I was George Floyd?
What if I was George Floyd?
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 I am George Floyd.
I am Breonna Taylor.
I am Ahmaud Arbery.
I am Eric Garner.
God, what? Hold on. So, not to take away from the moment, Zeke is looking fat. Maybe it's just a beard.
I actually was gonna say that. I was like, wow, he's had his snacks.
Yeah, he got no more W's to eat, so he's just eating I don't know, cereal. I don't know.
I am Eric
Garner. I am Tamir Rice.
I am Trayvon Martin.
I am Walter Scott.
I am Michael Brown Jr.
I am Samuel Du Bois.
I am Frank Smart.
I'm Philip White.
I am Jordan Baker.
We will not be silenced.
We assert our right to
Peacefully protest.
It shouldn't take this long to admit. So, on behalf of the National Football League,
this is what we, the players,
would like to hear you state.
We, the National Football League,
condemn racism and the systematic oppression of black people.
We, the National Football League,
admit wrong and silencing our players from peacefully protesting.
We, the National Football League,
believe Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Black lives matter.
All right, so pretty powerful video from them. I did see someone comment, no David Dorn mentioned. Yeah, no David Dorn mentioned. Yeah. But Roger Goodell and the NFL come out and they literally said exactly what the NFL players wanted them to say.
Yeah.
So this is Roger Goodell a day later, again, from the NFL account. And just as we watch this, I want everybody to think to yourselves, do you believe a word that's coming out of Roger Goodell's mouth? Do you believe that he means this? Do you believe the NFL means this? Or are they just
so
saying
derpy?
he hasn't seen the sun in forever.
Yeah, he just looks like
in his
he looked
pajamas.
like he was like, let me just go record this real quick.
Well, and he's like pausing between words, looking at the script. Like, imagine, like, this is not some. Let's just watch it.
It has been a difficult time for our country, in particular, Black people in our country. First, my condolences to the families of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and all the families who have endured police brutality. We, the National Football League, condemn racism and the systematic oppression of Black people. We, the National Football League, admit we were wrong for not listening to NFL players earlier and encourage all to speak out and peacefully protest. We, the National Football League, believe Black Lives Matter. I personally protest with you and want to be part of the much needed change in this country. Without Black players, there would be no National Football League. And the protests around the country are emblematic of the centuries of silence, inequality, and oppression of Black players, coaches, fans, and staff. We are listening. I am listening. And I will be reaching out to players who have raised their voices and others on how we can improve and go forward for a better and more united NFL family.
There you go. So that's the statement from Roger Goodell. Like, to me, I kind of gave my thoughts about this on Friday. I went live when it happened for just like 30 minutes to kind of talk about it because it was pretty crazy. What were your thoughts when you heard about all this, Jay?
It's like some of my friends, like we all kind of were just like, why do they do this when it's trendy? You know, if you really believe that, then that should have been something you should have like been looking at for a long time. First he says, so now he's saying he's sorry. It's kind of like, if I were to compare it with something, it's kind of like comparing what, like, I know for me, it always goes back to Star Wars, but like what Lucasfilm did, saying we support John Boyega, but yet we won't support him in China.
Yeah.
You know, we'll take him off the movie poster, but we really support him and we support this movement, you know, and it's just like, you guys are doing that because it's trendy. You know, it's like we support Black people, but not when it's going to cost us any money. You know, it's sad. It's sad that if he's going to make positive change to deal with racism and stuff, that's wonderful. But if this is all like, if we look back and like it's a year later and it was just hot air, you know, it just should show people that it's just trendy. Like these things do this because it's trendy. I remember like I think you posted a video, and I think you posted a video a couple days that I watched, Ryan, about corporations that don't care about you. It's because, like, you know, like even now it's like we stand with Pride Month and they changed their logo to the rainbow.
Yes.
But then they won't do it in other countries.
Yeah, in the Middle East. Yes, because people won't like that there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you go out and say, I stand with you, I'm going to fight for you, I'm going to fight with you, but then it's like, well, in other countries, you know, it's like it's going to affect our business, so we don't want to do that. And it's just it's aggravating to me that a lot of this is done because of trends, because it's trend setting, you know.
And that's why, listen, that's why this is happening. Let me get through these couple super chats here, and then I'll talk about it a little bit. So, Sir Ruin of House Roundhead, thank you very much, sir. $4.99. Do you think every NFL owner will allow for kneeling during the national anthem this season? Would they be seen as racist if they did not allow it? I'll answer the second part of your question first. Yes, that is what this entire thing is about. It's about people feeling pressured to come out and make a statement so they don't get called racist, because that's what happens. And you know what? The first thing in the replies here, good. Now you need to apologize to Colin Kaepernick. Then it's going to be like, why Colin Kaepernick needs a job. Then it's going to be Colin Kaepernick needs a starting job. Once you start giving in to demands like this from the mob, it's never going to stop. Will they allow for kneeling? It's not necessarily up to every NFL owner. It's a league policy Now, some owners were saying that they will not that either will pay the fines for their players or they won't fine their players like the NFL dictates. But I think it's going to be policy that you can kneel. I almost guarantee that with what Roger Goodell just said.
Well, I'm just saying, like, when we went through all this before, and the owners and everything were all locking hands and everything, and they said that they're gonna. You remember all that? The Cowboys all locked arms during the national anthem, and all that stuff was going on. What was that, last year? Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And they all came out with the same speeches. That's the thing. Like, they all came out with the same speeches. I support. I'm going to do something. But then, like, after a month, when it's not trendy no more, it's like, all right, well, that was over with. And now it just kind of kicks back up again. So it's kind of sad. Like I was telling you off air, it was like, if you believe in something, believe in something, and I appreciate people's passion for what they believe in, even if I don't like it, even if I don't agree with it, at least live for something. Don't just be a trendy person because it's trendy, because that doesn't solve anything. It never will. It'll just cycle again. It's awful. It's just awful. Nothing will ever change.
And that just means that I think that the reason that they did this in the beginning, right? The reason that they had this policy for the protests was because they took a feel of public opinion, right? And they realized that, just like Peter's saying right here, for $5, Peter says, I honestly stopped watching the majority of football when the kneeling started and have not bought any new NFL apparel since then. That is the way a lot of people felt. The majority of people felt that way, which is why they had the policy like that. Now we see this huge movement online that seems like if you tweet out a black square, or if you tweet out that you stand with racial inequality, right, to help fight it, you get a bunch of likes on social media, you get a bunch of praise from blue check marks. But how do the majority of people feel about what's going on? I think that is going to actually dictate what goes down, because right now everyone's just reacting. Twitter is not real life, as Jeremy likes to say. Twitter is not indicative of the public opinion. There's a lot of people right now who are afraid to say anything on Twitter because they'll get come at from the mob. So we'll see going forward what kind of effect something like this will have on the NFL.
I agree. And again, listen, this is not Ryan's stance. This is not Sports Wars stance. Do I believe racism exists? Of course, I believe it exists. But I also believe that, like, if you want to do something, you need to do something, and not. It's more than just, like you said. It's more than just a Twitter. It's more than just Twitter hashtag. If you want change, you have to be a part of the change, and that's what it. Don't just do it because it's trendy. Don't. I mean, for years in my own personal life, I had a thing with hunger. Like, I don't like seeing. And you know my backstory, Ryan. I don't have to go into it, but it's just like I wanted to change some things around the world, and in my hometown, it was like I just did it myself, and people like tagged along. That's great. If they didn't, I wasn't gonna point the finger at everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never done that. Have I ever done that to you? I'm like, you should be supporting my orphanage rebuild, Ryan. How dare you?
That's why you made me. That's why you made me buy those sunglasses. Remember that? You forced me to.
I didn't force you to buy it.
No, and you haven't, right?
But yeah, I'm just saying. It's like it starts. If you want change, it starts with you. If you're passionate about something and you want to change, then you'll go out and do it. It's bigger than a Twitter hashtag.
Well, and that's the thing. You have someone like, I saw a couple people bringing it up. Drew Brees, right? Drew Brees is someone who has done a ton for the community of New Orleans, which fact check 60% black, done a lot for the impoverished people in New Orleans to help rebuild that community after Katrina. Drew Brees has done a ton, but he says one thing that you just disagree with a little bit, and all of a sudden he's the devil. All of a sudden he's canceled. All of a sudden you have him castrating himself in front of the entire world, apology after apology, for his opinion. And look, this is the thing that pissed me off about Drew Brees. So either you knelt down to the mob, right? Either you knelt down to the mob and just said what they wanted to hear, so you're just lying, being disingenuous, or after 40 years, you had this opinion. This was your opinion about the national anthem. And all it took for a couple of your buddies, your NFL buddies and bitches like LeBron James to retweet you. And all of a sudden you changed your opinion after 40 years. And it's disappointing to see that from Drew Brees. Not everyone's going to agree on everything. That's not fucking reality. That's not how it works.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, exactly. It's just, we're just not. It just would, we might as well just all wear gray, paint our houses gray, have gray everything, you know, and just have one cut, you know, everything is gray. You can't, let's just plant one flower. Let's just, you know, have everyone have the same exact home to live in. I mean, it's just, that's never going to happen. Everyone, we disagree on everything from the color of shirts we like to wear to how we want our homes to look, from the food that we eat. You know, it's crazy, and people that are getting canceled for their opinion it's pretty disgusting. It's pretty disgusting, you know.
Yep, agreed. But so that's the NFL. That's the NFL stance. We'll see what that actually means going forward.
Agree. Like that's the thing. We'll see what happens. Like, what are they gonna do moving forward?
Exactly. But we do know another sport that is coming back, and that is the NBA. This is the one that I know Jay's excited for.
Very.
Because it's right in your hometown. We had the inside scoop too. We just couldn't really say anything about it.
Yeah.
But it's coming to Disney.
So I guess I could share like some cast members that I know personally that work. Even the president of Disney World is called a cast member. So they they came to me and they were just like, hey man, like the Silver's here and Adam Silver, and they're all here. I think they're going to have the NBA here at Disney on the worldwide of sports. And they're finishing up a brand new hotel, the Coronado Springs Hotel, which is huge. It's big enough to hold all the teams and their equipment managers, and you know what I'm saying? Like that's how big this hotel is. It's massive. And so that's when I think I texted you and I was like, hey man, all these people are here. So I don't know what that means, but it looks like they're going to sign a contract and you know, it looks like they're going to sign a contract. So, but yeah, it's happening, but they're not doing it. It's almost like they're picking up right where they left off.
Kind of a little bit, you know, it's interesting. You know, when you text me that, we had heard a lot of those rumors have been floating around, right? That looked like they might be considering a 2-city plan with Las Vegas and Orlando. So obviously the East Coast folks would go to Orlando. The West Coast folks would go to Las Vegas. They would be isolated, right? And they'd play all through the finals. And then they would decide, you know, where the championship would be played at that point. But that kind of fell apart. They want to balance safety of the players, which let's be just brutally honest right now. No one gives a fuck about COVID. COVID is stupid. There are literally just thousands of people like side by side in the streets right now, and health officials are saying that's fine. But no, you know, you can only have like 10 people in your house. COVID's bullshit. The fact that we're still delaying things over this is ridiculous. But that aside,
not so much in Florida.
Yeah. Like that aside, what's going to happen is, like Jay said, 22 NBA teams. 22 teams are going to be going down to Orlando, Florida to play at Disney's Wide World of Sports complex. And the reason they decided 22 teams, and I'll actually go ahead and pull everything up right now. Boom. Here, I'm going to share this screen real quick. So these are the teams right here. So it's going to be all of the teams that would currently be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then anyone within 6 games of that 8th seed.
Yeah.
For the East, that only means one additional team. The Wizards, 5.5 games back. For the West, that means the Blazers, Pelicans, Kings, Spurs, and Suns all go there as well. Everyone else, including my Bulls, including the Golden State Warriors, they get left at home. The reason that's within 6 games is it going to be an 8-game regular season. That is what they're doing. They're going to finish out 8 games in the regular season. and anyone within striking distance was included.
Yeah.
And that's going to count. You know, they didn't want to jump right back into the playoffs because they're worried that the gameplay might not be as good. So it's almost kind of going to be a preseason, to be quite honest with you. Get these guys back ready for real games as they finish out the regular season. Should be pretty exciting, to be honest. You hop into the NBA season as teams are fighting for the playoffs.
You want to know the truth?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the worst basketball we've ever seen. I think it's going to be the absolute worst. And I hope I'm wrong. I think we're going to see players that have just been sitting around all day for the past few months. I think the percentage of shots made are going to be really poor. They're not going to have the excitement, the energy of a crowd, which will also make watching it on TV kind of boring. When you just hear shoes squeaking on the floor, and that's about it, and the players yelling. Honestly, there's a lot of swear. If you ever sit courtside, there's a lot of swearing that goes on between the players. Without the crowds yelling, you might be able to pick that up, you know, with the cameras and stuff, because that just blocks out so much when you're for the television. So I wonder how they're gonna like deal with that.
They're talking about, so there's discussions about pumping like 2K, like NBA 2K crowd noise in through speakers.
Really?
Yeah.
That might, I mean, that would help for the TV. So that might help for the TV.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do something because you're right. That would be weird. Let's pull up the standings.
But I think that's the issue. I honestly believe that there are, and this is just because I have a friend that is a trainer. He just said some of the players just didn't want to come back and play this year. So so they're just kind of like they're gonna go to Disney to enjoy a vacation while they're there, because they're going to have access to the park. Now, the theme park, just think about it. The theme parks are going to be open by the time this happens. So Disney's also thinking about doing NBA like meet and greet type things. And no one's talking about that you can go to the Disney parks, you know, and be like, oh man, the Miami Heat are going to be here walking around the park, you know, maybe get some photos. So I'm like, at the end, this is like, I mean, it could be just a huge marketing tool to get people to come back to Disney World and back on the Disney property. Number one, because Disney has lost, they're in dead last. And I know this is not on sports, but it kind of is tying in. They're dead last in the theme park challenges. All the other theme parks have opened, right? And so people are flooding over there, but Disney's not going to be open until mid-July, which is when the NBA stuff is. It just seems like it's all being like linked together. And so they're also talking about showing games inside the park. I mean, it's just, there's so much that Disney's like gonna basically, I don't know what the details of the contract. And again, these are just whispers. Please don't quote me as fact. But last time I heard some whispers, they were true. But it just seems like Disney's gonna use this to the full effect of their marketing ability, you know, to get to make it. And I mean, who could blame them if you got all the players there and you got everything? I mean, why not? You know, like why not?
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're gonna see great basketball. It'll probably be the guys that really want to win that will probably just stand out more than
others. There's definitely going to be some people that show up out of shape as hell. So the end of this month, they're going to be like a week-long training camp at everyone's individual facilities. So I think June 30th or something like that. They're going to report to their own facilities in their own cities for about a week-long training camp. Then on July 7th, they're all going to go down to Orlando and probably be in isolation. You know, at least all amongst themselves for 14 days. They have to still be working out there. There's no way they can't. At that point, they're going to start to do some scrimmages and stuff. And then July 31st is when we should have game 1 of this regular season. But, you know, when you bring up all these player things they're going to do, like I'm somebody who I collect autographs. I've met a lot of players and stuff like that at player meet and greets. I'm thinking to myself, what I want a picture of myself and LeBron James with me wearing a mask and him wearing a mask and us standing 6 feet apart. That's like where my head's at. I don't know how they're going to run that kind of thing. I don't know how they're going to run people handing someone something to sign.
Well,
you know,
what
you know,
how they're doing it now is they have like plexiglass stuff up, and they also put people up on a higher level. So basically, if you want to get a picture in front of the team, you would just they would have it marked, and then they have like the professional photographers there that you link with your ticket, and then you can go get your picture. So they do it in a way where it kind of looks like you're there for whatnot, but it will be weird. But I'm telling you, people will roll out for. People will think like if I get a picture with LeBron James in a mask and me in a mask, they'll be like, this was a weird time. So this might be worth more than because it'll never happen again in our history. Hopefully. And you know, something like that. But I just think they're gonna market it. It wouldn't surprise me to see the NBA players on parades, you know, at the end of practice or something like that, like standing next to Mickey Mouse and like doing their thing. It just wouldn't surprise me if that what was happening. Disney's got it set up now where it's like they'll stay in those little like sphere balls, you know, where I guess, you know, they won't touch anything or anything like that. So it wouldn't surprise me if they do this, but I'm going to be around. So if I can like run up and get photos with any team players or anything, you know, like I'm going to get it. Like, I don't care who it is. So just say like, there they are. And I'm also trying to see if I can get into some kind of like box to watch one of the games or two there at the facility. Awesome. If you don't know what the facility looks like, they have multiple basketball, like, and they can convert it. They can convert these soccer fields into multiple basketball, which could be interesting. So it could be like 3 games going on at once, not like in the same, but I mean, they would of course be surrounded with walls and everything, but or they're going to use the same court, which I doubt. I don't know if they'll use the same court and just schedule the games that way. It'll be curious to see. But there's also like up at the top, you know, I guess you call it press boxes and stuff where they're supposedly going to allow people to come and watch the games. And so it will be interesting to see how they set all that up. Now, here's the crazy thing. Here's the crazy thing. And then I'm sorry, I'll let you talk. They're also talking about, and again, rumor, whispers, please don't quote me, that if they play in the soccer, like one of the stadiums, they convert the small part that people can come and watch the games, but it'll be at a distance. So basically, even the front row would be like a nosebleed because they'll be that far away from the players and stuff if it gets to that point, maybe for the playoffs or the finals or something. So it basically, just think about a large soccer stadium, and then they convert like a basketball court in the middle, and then everything is pushed back.
That's how far you are away.
Yeah, then they have people come in on the second tier level, you know, to look down, not on the front tier, but on like the second part of the tier. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like it'll be up high, and with all the testing that they're doing now to get into the park, they test your temperature. You got to answer a questionnaire. You got to do all those things like that. So I mean, who knows, man? Who knows what they're gonna try?
Oh, it might be expensive too. Maybe it'll be exclusive. Like it might be hard to get into those games, you know, money wise. So maybe Disney can make some money, NBA can make some money. We'll have to see. Sharoon of House Roundhead for $4.99. Thank you very much. I would have liked to see Michael Thomas tell Drew Brees to not throw him the football because I don't agree with your thoughts on the flag. I wonder if Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders and Alvin Kamara all were talking to each other before they all decided to publicly retweet and unfollow Drew Brees. That's what I wonder. I wonder if they were in their own chat group, you know, discussing about how they should do this to try to call him out like that. That'd be bullshit. I wouldn't doubt it if they were, to be quite honest. Peter says for $10. That's the reason why I'm a paying member of your channel, Drunk, because I support what you do because you actually put action behind what you say and helping those kids.
Man, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, Peter. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. Appreciate your support, man. Appreciate your support. Refs can watch from a distance too. LeBron's flops will still be effective. Oh, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be good. It's gonna be interesting to see.
I think we'll see a lot of injuries too, man. I think we'll see injuries.
Well, I think that the elite guys like LeBron, like the people like LeBron, like Paul George, Kawhi, like those guys have been working out this whole time, like because they have the facilities available, like at their houses and stuff like that. Like I have no doubts about those people. But
you know what really got me to understand was like it was interesting to see, like even in that Michael Jordan documentary when he came back to basketball,
he was out of shape.
Yeah, he was in great shape, but he wasn't in basketball shape, is what he called it. He was just like, there's a difference. I was training for baseball, now I had to retrain back for basketball. So if they didn't have their trainers come out, like you said, to keep them in basketball style shape, then yeah, it'll be it's going to be interesting to see what they look. But I agree with you. I think the elite players that want to win that just want to just win as much as they can, they'll be good to go. But still, you need a supporting cast, man. You need support. If you're like the guy that just comes off the bench for 5 minutes every game, I mean,
how hard has that guy been working? You know what I mean? Like, he's sitting on the couch eating Cheetos.
I know.
You know? and you're right. It's just a different. And even if you are working out, you not like playing basketball is the only way to really get in basketball shape. Bottom line, like you said, Michael Jordan was a professional baseball player. That's what he was doing. But you're not running around a court for 42 minutes a night. Like you're sitting there in the outfield waiting. Then you sprint. Then you wait.
But do you remember the documentary? He was like, I have to get in shape. So he called like Reggie Miller. He called all of them to play pickup games. And then he went and worked out after the pickup games. And Reggie Miller on the documentary goes, dude, those were some of the best games that no one will ever see. And so he was doing two things. He was sizing up his competition and getting back into basketball shape. So it'll be interesting to see. You're right. It'll be interesting. I'm just glad it's back. I don't care if it sucks. I don't care if they only score 55 points a game.
No, well, I think it'd be more likely there ain't no defense. Like,
that's what I'm saying. I think it could look like an all-star. It could look like an all-star game every game because they're kind of like, this is a weird season. No one's really watching. Whether we win or lose, is there going to be an asterisk? Probably. Next
100%. Especially if LeBron wins. I'm just crossing the whole thing out and putting an asterisk if LeBron wins. There ain't no doubt about that.
And if Miami wins, because they got a shot too, I'll still be happy.
Well, yeah, for sure. My team's too far behind. The Bulls are like 10 games out, so they didn't get included, which is.
But again, like Miami shows up all fat and out of shape and like don't care, If Butler was like, dude, man, I was enjoying my beach time. I don't want to be at Disney. Like, let's just dribble a little bit and then we'll just go. I can go back.
Jimmy will be ready to go. Jimmy's ready. Jimmy's ready. I know he is. Jimmy Butler, man. Jimmy Butler was homeless. Living in a car,
he's
not
hungry,
eating anything. He wants everything. I guarantee you, he's been working out like a madman for this shit. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens and how everything eventually shakes up in the NBA. But one thing we don't know yet, another sport that wants to return but can't right now, is Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball is interesting because they haven't started their season yet. Basketball got almost their whole season done, and then they cut it done. Rudy Gobert got sick. Oh, that's it. Let's cancel the NBA season. And they're picking it back up, and basically with just a couple regular season games in the playoffs. Baseball hasn't played a single game yet, and now they're getting to the point where the players want one thing and the owners want another. One of the problems with baseball is that they are basically already looking at it and realizing they're not going to have any crowds in the stands, but they still want to be playing at their home stadiums. The the MLB owners put forward a plan to give baseball players effectively 25% of their pro-rated contract. So there's 162 games in the MLB season. There's a 48-game plan right now on the table from the owners. They said, hey, we will pay you guys a percentage of whatever your contract is based on how many games you play. Let's just say it's 25% because that's easy math. So if you make $10 million, you're going to make 25% of that because you're playing 25% of the games. You will make $2.5 million. The players don't want that. The players say, no, we want that deal, but we want to do an 82-game season so we make more money. So you give me $5 million of that $10 million. The problem is with no one in the stands and just the TV revenue, but also having to play staff, having to pay players that kind of money. With the 48-game plan, MLB owners are already going to be losing about $400 million total, split between 30 teams. But, $400 million is what they will be losing if they do that. So they're already taking a loss just to have a season. Now, if it's 82 games, that number goes up closer to $700 million. So it's a tough situation right now in Major League Baseball because the owners are coming to the players and saying, hey, guys, we want to do something. We want you to get paid something, but we also don't want to take a massive loss. And the players are saying, nah, fuck you. We want everything we can possibly get. I don't care what kind of loss you're taking. And I see a lot of I don't know if it's going to happen because the owners have no reason to make that happen if they're going to lose money anyway.
Do you think if the players come back and say we're not doing it, that they will do like a scab team?
No.
Like just bring in like just AAA players to play the season just so they have something to watch?
I don't think so. I think
they've done that in football, they've done that they've done that. So it would be better for them just to say canceled for this season then, do you think?
And it's so Dark Side Droids brings up a good point. Baseball died almost 2 decades ago. I wouldn't say that. Baseball still makes about $10 billion a year.
Yeah, it does well.
So you're right. A lot of the stadiums haven't sold out consistently, but when you have 81 home games and you're selling hot dogs and peanuts and way too expensive soda.
Too. Like there's the television contracts that are huge.
Right.
For that kind of thing. Hey, if people don't understand, listen, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but this is how baseball works. And I learned this when Miami Marlins when they sold their team and they went on this ridiculous spending spree, and they fired everybody because it's all profit sharing. So it's like if I own a team, and even if my team only wins 10 games, I'm still going to get a percentage of these giant contracts from the Yankees and everybody else who's always on television and all that stuff. I'm still going to make money whether my team wins or not. So it's a profit sharing type. It's the easiest way I can explain it. So
and it doesn't even have anything to do with wins, right? Like just you could have no one show up. You could have no one show up to your game. You're right about the profit sharing, but like that is why teams like Miami Marlins right now, teams like Tampa Bay Rays are able to be around even when they consistently have low numbers because teams like the Yankees are forced to share their profits with that team. So what that basically means is anything not specifically sold in your stadium, you are required to share those profits with the rest of the league. So anytime you buy a Yankees jersey on MLBshop.com, those profits are shared throughout the entire league.
Yeah, there's a percentage that goes to all the other teams. That's right.
Exactly. So, but what I will say, one of the reasons Darkside George is right that the interest in baseball is low. If you don't have a season at all, like how many people are just going to be out for the next year then? How many people are going to realize that maybe I didn't miss it this much? That's true. I didn't go to a game, it was kind of nice not having to pay for season tickets this year. I don't think I'm going to renew next year. I just watched on TV,
That's true.
like that is a huge thing. And when you talk about human psyche and breaking habits and things like that, one of the things that happens to people is it's supposed to take like 2 or 3 weeks to break a habit. Obviously, sports is extended to longer than that. But if you go a year without something, you realize you don't miss it that much. You might have broken that habit. And Darkside Dress is what I'm saying is Major League Baseball devolved to regional. 100% agree. It is a very regional sport.
Agree.
People watch it regionally, and one of the reasons for that too is I think because there's just a game every day too. Here's something that I thought would be interesting. What if, and this is one thing I've heard getting thrown around in MLB. What if they did this 48 game plan and they spread out the games a little bit? So maybe they don't play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They just play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And that is when they play their games. They air them more on TV than would normally happen because you might not have things going on. You do that, you get attention. You don't do it every day like normally baseball would be. You make it a little more special. You hype up things for the weekend. Maybe they could do something like that in a 48 game season that wouldn't normally be able to do because of so many games.
It would be interesting. The players are gonna have to bend a little. They're gonna have to bend a little, I think.
Well, and it's not even really bending. Like if you're not playing those games, like
it's just adjusting. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's like adjusting your contract. I paid you for 80 games. You're only doing 40, so we're gonna pay you for what you're playing. And I honestly don't see anything wrong with that, to be honest. And if I was getting $100 million and they only gave me 70 million, I think I might be okay. Maybe. I think I might be okay.
Well, and we had one, I forget who it was a pitcher for the Rays. I forget who it was, but he was like, listen, I ain't playing. I want my full money. I'm risking my life out there to play with COVID going around. That's what he said. And it was like, oh my God, dude, like get over yourself. If you don't want to play, that's fine. If you don't want to play because of the money, that's fine. But don't try to be like, I'm risking my life out there. Like, what a bitch, to be quite honest.
Yeah, that's weird.
You have a better chance of getting.
I should say that to Jeremy. Jeremy, I'm at the theme parks risking my life. Give me a raise. You
literally have a better chance of getting fucking struck by lightning than you do dying of COVID. Just saying. So I think he'll be all right. Maybe just, if it starts to get cloudy and, you're worried about COVID, then maybe. Let's see what we got in the chat. A lot of people saying the demographics show quite clearly young people do not like baseball. That's what people keep saying, and they keep making money.
What would you like to see?
I would love to see 82 games, of course. I would love to see as much as I possibly could. But I also
enjoy baseball. You enjoy watching baseball.
Yeah, for sure. But like if I don't, if I'm not able to go to a game, that's going to be sad. I'm definitely going to watch as much as I possibly can. I always have MLB TV. So I will definitely watch every Cubs game I possibly can because I'm a huge Cubs fan, and I'm obviously in California, so I can't watch locally. So they'll definitely get my money that way as long as they have a season. I want them to play as much as possible, but I also understand that some teams can't afford to do that. So
I usually watch like baseball, like once the playoffs start. That's what kind of baseball watcher I am. I'll have the games on during the playoffs. So,
yeah.
But again, like for me, NBA, yeah, I get the NBA ticket. There's a game on every night. There's like 2 or 3 games on every night. Like it's on my television every single. I actually see, and that's the beauty. This is why we need sports, man. So I'm not watching the freaking news. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing to watch. It's like you turn it on to see all this turmoil and stuff. And I'm like, I remember I had the NBA ticket every night. I had a game, and that's what was on my television. And it would just be like, if I wanted the news, I'd go on Twitter, and then the way I feel about Twitter is like half that stuff is over exaggerated anyway. So it didn't, it's not like what we see today. It's like we need sports, man. We need sports back with a pass.
Great Force says, Great Force says the greed in the upper class is part of the overall social issues in the country right now. Mike Trout can afford to help low-income LA neighborhood. Well, sure, you probably could afford it. Here's my question to you, Great Force. How much should Mike Trout give? How much is enough for Mike Trout to give until he's not greedy? That would be my question.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. If he feels like he wants to spend his money on a cause, then he should. If he doesn't, that's the money that he's earned. That's the contract that they gave him. He could keep it all and spend it on himself. And it is, that stuff never bothered me. What people do with their own money, it is what it is. So, I get what you're trying to say, like, because we look, I'm poor compared to these people. And it's like, man, they could change the world with it. Yeah, maybe they could. Maybe they could do a lot of good. But at the end of the day, it's their choice, man. It's their choice. No, and
I'm not entitled to a fucking dime that anyone else makes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's always how I've lived my life.
I can't judge them for what they do with their money. I can only judge myself and how I personally feel and how what the change that I want to see made. That's what I was saying earlier. Is that I can't. It's what I said earlier. I was like, I've never pointed to Ryan or any of my friends and saying, "Why aren't you helping me with building Orb? Why aren't you helping?" I will never do that. I will never guilt anyone. I don't ever want to shame anyone. And if it comes to that, I hope someone calls me out, because that's a terrible way to do things. To point at somebody and say you should be doing that when you really feel like something should change, then you should go do it. I don't know what else to say. I mean, that might sound, I don't know how that's coming across, but I think that's just I think that's the truth. If you want to change something, go out and do it. That's it is.
And that's why, like, let's see, exactly. That's what I was going to respond with, Drunk. Agree with you both, but there's clearly a divide in the country right now. Well, I think I totally agree. I think that yeah, there are some people that want to keep all the money that they make. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that. There are also, like, people in the world, like you said, who feel like entitled to it because someone has more than them that they should share. And I just don't agree with that.
Yeah, I'll never agree with sharing the wealth.
Yeah. Mike Trout gives a lot of money to charity. But like this question is always, it's kind of like the other thing, how much is enough? How much is enough for this person to give? And it might be, if he gave 1/10 of his money, that might be $10 million a year that he's giving, which is a lot. If I give 1/10 of my money, it ain't shit. But I don't know. It's all perspective. It all depends on how you feel. But I appreciate your perspective, Great Force.
Yeah, absolutely, Great Force. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But we're coming up on an hour here, and I want to cover one more thing for sure. And I agree, Dark Side Droids. 8 Men Out is an awesome story about the old Black Sox throwing the World Series. Did Shoeless Joe really throw it? Did Shoeless Joe Jackson really throw the World Series? We'll never know. But Conor McGregor, he's in the thumbnail. I made a video about it last night. Has retired for the third time in the past 4 years. Will it stick this time? That is going to be what everyone's asking. So let me read a little bit of this article from TMZ. Conor McGregor runs back that old tune. I'm retiring from fighting. Seriously. If Conor McGregor were a rapper, this would be his biggest hit song. I'm retired. A track he's already dropped twice, but is now releasing for a third time. He tweeted this late Saturday, right after UFC 250 was over. He dropped this tweet saying, "Hey guys, I've decided to retire from fighting. Thank you all for the amazing memories. What a ride it's been." And then he posts a picture of his mom and talks about his mom. This retirement announcement, his third in just 4 years, came with a pic of Conor and his mom and a note about buying her a house, despite the fact that he already pimped out his mother's crib in 2017. Nice emotional touches that make you think maybe he means it this time. Conor McGregor has done a lot of talking over the past couple weeks about his next matchup. He's been saying, I'll fight Oscar De La Hoya. I'll make him come out of retirement to fight me. He said, me and Anderson Silva should set up a super fight for UFC. He's talked about Khabib, a rematch with Khabib, and he's talked about killing Justin Gaethje. I'm sure just in the ring. And I, for one, I want to see Conor McGregor and Justin Gaethje face off. There's no doubt about that. I think that'd be fucking awesome. I made a video about this last night. I don't really believe it, but like at the end of the day, Conor has made a lot of money. I think the thing that will get him to come back out of retirement is more money. But what do you think, Jay? Do you give a shit about UFC at all?
Oh no, I enjoy it, but he just kind of, it's just weird. He's a special person that will just wake up one day and just tweet something out for whatever he's feeling. And then, you know, if Money Mayweather says, hey, you want to box again? Here's 20 million. I'm sure he'd be like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Why not? You know, I agree. Like, I think if the money's there, I think he'll do it. He might not have his heart into it like he has in the past, but money changes a lot of perspectives real quick. It really does. It changes a lot of perspectives.
Yeah. So. Well, and I think that so Conor McGregor is basically a WWE personality. Yeah. Like that's what he is. And
he might end up in the WWE.
Well, I don't think they're going to give him enough money. Like when you get a $50 million, I think that's what he got for the Floyd Mayweather fight. Might have been more. When you get that much money, like you're not WWE ain't going to do anything for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like
unless it's like a special appearance, like a WrestleMania appearance, like they've done in the past with like Shaq and Mayweather was there. He got $10 million for his appearance at ridiculous $10 million to have the beat up one of the wrestlers. That's it.
The Big Show.
Yeah, that was it.
I think he broke his nose actually in real life. But you know, one of the things I know a lot of hardcore MMA fans who don't like the way UFC has been going over the past couple of years because it seems like all you have to do is make enough noise, become a WWE personality, and you get fights.
Like Brock Lesnar and all that.
Well, so people like Justin Gaethje, for instance.
Yeah.
I love Justin Gaethje, but he's a dude who has lost a couple fights, but he is good behind the mic. People like him because he just sits there and takes punishment. Like I don't know how that dude doesn't get knocked out every single fight, but he just takes his punishment and then keeps throwing punches back. You have people that just go out there and talk on the mic, call out people because that's what you have to do nowadays to get a fight. I, as someone who is a big UFC fan, I like watching UFC, but I'm not a huge MMA person, if that makes sense, right? I like it for the competition of it. I like it for for everything, but I don't know, like, I'm not someone who was into MMA before it got big. So I like seeing the entertainment value. I like characters like Conor McGregor. I hate people like Daniel Cormier. I like to make fun of Daniel Cormier. I hate Daniel Cormier. I think he's a fat piece of shit, right? I think he's a bitch. But like those are the things that I like about UFC a lot. So I think Conor McGregor is going to be back.
It's the drama.
Exactly.
It's the drama and the hype that they can. Yeah. So it does turn into WWE. Remember they used to have a show. With the two UFC fighters. They would train like 4 or 5 people.
Ultimate Fighter. They still do that.
Do they really? Is that still a thing?
Yeah.
What channel is that on? Because I don't ever see that. I used to watch that. I used to watch that a lot, and it would bring the drama. And then the two heads of house would fight in the octagon, you know, like on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, so it was originally on like Spike TV or something, if I remember right.
Okay, it's on one of those channels. So
yeah. So now it's all right. So up until a couple, it was on Fox Sports for a while, FS1. It's available on the UFC network, like UFC Fight Pass right now, and also BT Sport, which that must be some British thing. But yeah, you have to have the UFC network.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's still going. It's still going. There's been 28 seasons.
Wow, it used to be on it used to be on a channel that was easy access. Now everything's gone to streaming stuff. So, or you got to have a certain channel to subscribe to.
Well, and a lot of times, right? It's like, they have coaches who also hate each other, right?
Yeah.
So not only are these like these young people trying to break into the UFC, but you have the coaches that hate each other. So like the last one, the coaches were, I think, Stipe Miocic and Cormier. So when Cormier got his ass knocked out by Stipe, which was awesome.
Yeah. See, I like that. Man, I didn't know they still do that. Shame on me. I always thought those were great. It would stir the drama, you know.
Wait, no, those were, hold on. I don't think those were the coaches. That was the breeder. It was Robert Whitaker and Kelvin Gastelum. I think maybe. I don't fucking know. But it's big coaches. No, there it is. You're right. Stipe and Daniel Cormier. I was right the first time. But anyway, it's still going on. UFC, I like it. I like watching it. I don't like paying $60 for fights, but I will when they're big enough for me to purchase. And when McGregor's on the card, I'm gonna purchase the UFC fight. That's just how it is.
Yeah, it's true. The problem that we have here on the East Coast is that the main event doesn't start till like 1 a.m. So, right. And so it's a lot. Normally, like the thing that I love about like the old pay-per-views, you get like a lot of people over with like food and drinks and stuff, or there's a sports bar not too far from here that'll get UFC, but it's like a 3-drink minimum or something to get in that you have to pre-buy. So you basically buy when you walk in 3 drinks, like 3 drinks, and then you could watch the pay-per-view there.
That's what I used to do a lot of the times. I used to go to Buffalo Wild Wings or whatever to watch the fights. A couple people, but it was a British sports channel. That's good. And this is what I was talking about. UFC used to be about actual diversity of martial arts: jiu-jitsu, judo, wrestling, Muay Thai, etc. Muay Thai, not a Mai Tai. That's a drink. Now it's all about huge personalities and cash. Yep, totally agree. Agreed. But like again, to me, the entertainment value is big to me as well. But
absolutely.
But McGregor is retired for now. I guess we'll see what happens in the future.
Until he gets bored.
Exactly.
Until he gets bored. Maybe we'll see Mike Tyson in the UFC. He's training for something.
We're gonna see Mike Tyson in the ring, I think, and the boxing ring.
He's training for something. I mean, we saw how old was George Foreman in his comeback?
Freaking late 50s. Tyson looks good. Tyson looks good and is fast.
He looks scary, dude. Yeah. Holy crap. I mean, he might not be able to maintain the stamina, but if oh my gosh, he gets a hold of you, man. Your skull's being cracked.
Yeah, dude's a fucking freak, man. In more ways than one.
They'll find some blop to put him in the ring. Some guy that's ranked like 300, and we'll all pay to watch. We'll all pay to watch Mike Tyson pound the crap out of somebody. It'd be glorious.
No, they'll do somebody else, like somebody who's actually like somewhat relevant. I guarantee you, the money's right. These guys will fight, and a lot of people will pay to see that for sure. Maybe bring Lennox Lewis back. Yeah. Lennox Lewis is probably fat as fuck, right? I imagine. I haven't seen Lennox Lewis in a long time, but
bring back the guy that beat him for the title,
Evander Holyfield.
No, what was the other one in Japan? What did he lost the title? Bubba, was that his name? Yeah, I can't remember that guy's name. He was like a nobody. He beat Tyson, and then that was the first time Tyson lost.
I know Mike Tyson. He's doing AEW stuff right now. He's in the feud with Chris Jericho. I mean, like real Buster Douglas. That's right, Buster Douglas. I can't remember his name.
That's how irrelevant Buster.
Yeah, and that was so shocking to everybody that happened. Nobody thought that was going to happen, except maybe Buster Douglas and his mom. That might be it. But yeah, Mike Tyson being back would be pretty crazy. But that's about an hour, which is about what I want to keep these at. I think that's pretty good and solid. Do you have any other sports stuff that you've seen that you wanted to hit real quick before we're done, Jay?
No, I just can't wait for it to get back so I could see something on television. I'm looking forward to the NBA. Definitely, the NFL looks like they're going to just start off the season normal with crowds in the stand. I assume they haven't really said anything.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be crazy because there's gonna be different rules. Like we've had fucking riots and protests with people side by side. If they don't let everybody into there, it's gonna be ridiculous.
I was at the theme park, man, with people next to me the whole time. People I didn't know. You know, it's like they maybe they'll just do those things. You'll get like a temperature check and you just wear a mask while you go. You know, and then the NFL make millions selling like their team logo on a face mask. And
ooh, that's a good idea, actually.
And then that'll be Universal Studios did it. They were advertising. You don't have a mask? We have these custom masks that are rated high, blah, blah, blah. And so people went there and they bought them. They were wearing Universal Studios theme park masks. Because it was a cool thing to buy. Right when they walked out of the parking lot, they were selling them for like $12, $15. It's ridiculous. They probably cost $1 to make, honestly. So, you know.
Not a bad deal. Not a bad deal. Jay Rickman with the $2.69 super chat. Thank you, Jay Rickman. Always the interesting numbers from you, my friend. Appreciate that. Walking Talking Jeff meme says new Olympic sports proposal, hide and seek. How about social distancing? Maybe that'll be the new Olympic sport. I forgot the Olympics were delayed. The Olympics aren't going to be till next year. Forgot all about that.
And I think it's in China next year. It's in Beijing.
Maybe Japan, or is it Beijing?
It's in Beijing.
It is. Might be Beijing. Yeah, it's definitely one of those countries right there. But yeah, I think it is Beijing. 2020. Or was it just in Beijing?
It's supposed to be in Beijing the next round, I think. Right? I don't know.
Tokyo?
Oh, right,
Tokyo.
Okay.
I thought it was Tokyo, right?
Oh yeah, maybe it is Japan. It was over there.
We're not racist, we swear. It's one of those countries over there.
It's it's in Asia.
Yeah, Tokyo. It's supposed to be in Tokyo.
Okay, so it was in Japan.
Yep.
Alex said, I predict Jay will win 10 races tonight. Yeah, well, that's a gambling man if I ever see one. I just want one. If I could just get one.
that bet right there is like a dude betting on Buster Douglas. You never know.
Exactly.
You never know.
You are exactly correct. That is a Buster Douglas bet right there.
Yeah, there it is. Got it. That makes sense. That's why we were confused. But yes,
okay. Summer was delayed for 2021 Beijing for the Winter Olympic. Wait. So next year, wait. They're delaying the Olympics for 1 year that will take place in Beijing.
No. So the summer one should have been in 2020. It's now going to be in 2021, still in Tokyo. But 2022 Winter Olympics have always been scheduled for Beijing.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. But we do appreciate all you guys hanging out, bullshitting with us about sports. It's been good. Yeah. We're going to start doing this. Expect us to be here, pretty much every Sunday morning, just like this. And then randomly, whenever something happens, we'll do a stream. But want to get back to doing Sunday Sports Wars streams. Thank you all for being here. Jay, thanks for coming on, man. It was nice.
No, I enjoy it, man. I enjoy it.
All right. And I know Park Hopping is going live later on today, I think at 5 Eastern.
5 or 6, depending on – we're waiting on Tugs to get back home. She's traveling. And so it'll either be 5 or 6. She's on an airplane. She was actually in her – I don't know where she was. Colorado, I think. And then she got on another plane heading back to Vegas. So she's
almost home then.
Yeah. She's like, please don't start without me. So I'm like, okay.
All right. But we appreciate you guys being here. Make sure to check out Park Hopping for Jay's stream later on. But we thank you guys for being here. Thank you for the super chats. We appreciate and love every single one of you. And we will talk to you later. Peace.